In this video, we are going to learn about how to use events on multiple elements. So for that, we will be building an app. So let's look at the finished version of the app. So the app contains a h1 element that says choose a color and contains multiple boxes with different background color. And when we click on any of the boxes, we can see the color name appears here and the background of h1 changes to that specific color. If we go ahead and click on other color, we can see the text becomes crimson and the background color changes. So this is what we need to make, and we will start from the basic structure that contains header and a div with buttons class. This div contains multiple hard-coded boxes. If we go into our JavaScript, we can see that we have a variable called colors that is an array of all the text color supported by CSS. And we have also selected two elements, the root and h1. Root is where we are going to put all the boxes like we are doing it here, and h1 is where we are going to put the name of the color as a text like this one. So the first thing we need to do is to create all the boxes, and the number of boxes depends on the number of color we have here. So to do that, to create boxes, we'll do colors is an array and we'll say colors.forEach. For each color you need to create a box. So we will get access to color, and here we need to create a similar structure like this, div with class of box. So we'll go ahead and say let div is equal to document.createElement and we'll pass div. Once div is created, we need to add a class named box. So we'll say div.classList.add box. So for each color, we need to create this div and append this into our root. To append it, we'll say root.append and we'll pass div. Once done, let's go ahead and refresh the page. And we will see we got a lot of boxes here. But the background color remains the same because we haven't changed the background color of each boxes. To do that, we'll go ahead and say div.style.background color is equal to color. Now if we refresh, we'll see this thing is working. So the first step for creating the app is completed. Like we have created multiple boxes with different background color. Now we need to handle a click event on each of these boxes. So each one of the boxes is being created here. So why not just go ahead and add an event listener when we are creating the box, something like div add event listener accepts two parameters. The first parameter is the type of event, that is click, and a handler function. So we can pass the function and a handler function that is a function reference. So we'll create the function and we'll say, so whenever click happens on div, what I need to do is to change the value of h1 to that specific color. So we already have selected h1. We can go ahead and say h1.innerText is equal to color. So now if we refresh this page, we can see the color is changing. As we have seen in the finished app, even the background of this h1 is changing. So to change that, we'll go ahead and do h1.style.background color is equal to color. Now if we refresh the page, we can see the background color and the text are changing. So our app is completed. Like if we compare this with the finished app, we'll see it behaves similarly. Let's take this example a bit more further. So here in this example, we can see the handler function is very small, but sometimes the handler function becomes really big. So in that case, the simplest way to do that is to move this function from inside forEach to outside and name this function something like handleClick. Now we will pass a function reference from here by saying handleClick. Now if we refresh the page, we can see it's not working, and in our console we can see an error saying color is not defined. And the problem is, like, because now this function is outside of forEach, it doesn't have any access to color variable. So how can we give them access to color variable? The simplest way of doing that is passing the color value as a parameter. And now color will go as a parameter to this function. I can just say, and just to take care of the confusion of this color and this color, I'll just go ahead and name this color text, and we'll change the value of this color to color text and color text. Now what we are doing is add event listener is passing this color from here to our handler, and we are using that color there. Now if we refresh this page, we can see it has changed to yellow green. We haven't clicked on anything, and the reason for that is because instead of passing a function reference, we are passing a function call. So we always need to pass a function reference. But how can we pass a parameter when we are passing a function reference? So the way to do that is to pass a function, and inside that function call this. It means that whenever click happens on div, add event listener will call this function, and when this function will be called, the function inside that will also get called. So now if we refresh the page, we can see our app started working normally. So there are multiple things we learned in this video. One is how can we add event on multiple elements. The second thing we learned is like how can you pass a parameter to a function by passing it as a reference. So you put it inside another function. So in this way we have completed our app and understood concepts like adding event to multiple elements and passing a callback function along with passing a parameter.